Welcome to A Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast that burns all of its vacation time to watch one damn season of the Clone Wars. I am one of your hosts, the Angry Ginger, sitting inside Wookiee Poo Studios with my neighbor from Corellia, the number one targeted rebel.
Sure.
From somewhere and the other.
I knew you were going to slaughter that.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am neighbor Cole. Hi, how you doing, everybody? And thanks for having me in Wookiee Poo Studios, Jay.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for coming down here.
How many hours of vacation do you think a standard laborer on the Death Star would get?
8 hours.
8 hours of vacation per quarter?
Yeah.
Or
and those are like bathroom breaks. They got to punch in and out.
You have to earn it to burn it?
Yeah, exactly.
I bet it's as bad as Amazon. Where
I feel like they got to work like 100 hours and they get like 15 minutes.
I bet you the bathroom is like 15 minutes across, like 15 parsecs away, and it takes at least 4 parsecs. You only get a 30-second
You either get a lunch
break
or a bathroom break. It's one or the other. You want roast beef or a piss?
I didn't even get I'm trying to drink my blue milk over here, and I didn't even out of my thermos.
The architect of the Death Star's like, puts the plans out, and like, well, where are the bathrooms? Oh, shit. Forgot about the bathrooms.
Put those in there. Yeah, we got to do we need an overhaul.
What if
That's why the second Death Star was 460. Leave me alone here.
That's what they call the bathrooms.
460% more is because they forgot bathrooms on the Death Star.
They call the bathrooms the Darth Stalls.
Yes, yeah.
But what if they're like their lunch kits? Like we have thermoses that have like Luke Skywalker on them. What if they just have like American citizens on there? So like people of the world.
I'm collecting Darth Mafias.
It's just football players. Yeah, the third micer you did here that chimed in because he just couldn't wait to be introduced. That's Darth Matthias. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well. I don't have any impressions today. I was kind of scouring through season 5, excuse me, and I just couldn't nail any. I couldn't lock any in, and I don't want to do that to our listeners. I'm not going to force it, so I'm just going to be myself today. Right off the top.
All right.
If you can't bring 100%, if you can't nail it spot on, you're not doing it at all.
That's right. I don't want to fake it. So, but if you would like to get in touch with our show, please reach out to us on Twitter at FACPA Pod. You can reach us at facpapod@gmail.com. You can support the show and buy some merch, which would be pretty sweet. teespring.com/stores/FACPA Pod. And as I mentioned last week, our personal handles on Twitter, I'm at Reasons Are. Jason?
I'm at S7EVEN Days of Geek, or you can follow Monkey Poo Studios at, I don't know what it is. Let's go with MPS Studios today. I think it's Monkey Poo Stew.
And you can find me at Neighbor Cole. That's NEIGHBOR Cole.
Okay, before we get to the rundown of the show, let's just, let's put it all on the table. When did we all finish the season? Like, when did we start and when did we finish? Because, like, our chat room this week was like, I think we were all in a race to see who could start last then finish first.
Matt was out with an early lead, which is typically he's the last one done.
Yeah.
And I'm usually like, I usually will knock out like 9 of them because I'm like, I got to get ahead of this or else I'll never do it.
Yeah, because you're always like in the carpool. Like, we have 2 weeks now between our shows, and usually week 1, you're like, oh yeah, I'm like 5 or 6 episodes in. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start today. And then something happens that I don't.
I started, what did I start? Today is Thursday, yeah? I think I started Monday, I believe. I believe I started Monday, and I ended today at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So 8 hours ago.
Yeah, I started strong and then kind of stalled a little bit, but it wasn't a mad dash at any point. It was the best I've done, I think, this whole time we've been doing Clone Wars. So I watched the last 4 last night.
Your comment about the droid episodes, I was like, man, I didn't want to start it.
I thought that was you that said, damn, these damn droid episodes. And I'm like, I pushed play and I was beginning episode 3. And I'm like, oh no, this is going to be a real bad watch.
Well, there was like a 4 episode arc and I just was, oh my God,
But thankfully it got better.
I wanted to skip.
Yeah, I almost did. And then I think the last third of the 3rd episode and then the 4th all kind of made it worth it. But overall, it was like, this was just, it almost felt like a giant filler episode. Like we were happy last season, which was 2 weeks ago, right? Where we were like the episode seemed to be more through line, right? Like we're just sticking with like the one story, and the other than the opening 3 episodes under the ocean shit, we were like, whatever. Seemed to be like a good to go. Like we were just boom, 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 everything was going. But this one was like, I was excited for that, and they were doing that. Like I think every episode was an arc. It was 3 or 4 episodes, or every story was 3 or 4 episodes. Right?
Yeah, the first episode was kind of its own deal, and then everything after that was grouped. And because I mentioned last episode that I look at the list of episodes. I don't look at all the breakdowns, but I look at the directors,
Yeah.
And if it's the same director over and over and over, you know that's all going to be one storyline. So when I saw the droid one start and I saw 4 straight by the same director, I was like, 4?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was the longest arc too, and it was the worst. It was the worst stories. I couldn't even.
It seems to be like right there, early middle. They do the droid episodes, but they don't seem to have an arc. You know, they're just like, oh, look it today. The fucking droids are going to go to the spa.
It's like they're in the contract. We have to include the droids.
Yeah, because like Lucasfilm believes that we love the droids. They even have a fucking series coming out about the droids.
The droids are good side characters.
Yeah,
not
right.
main characters. But the last 7 episodes were fucking unbelievable. So it ended well.
Yeah, like
first 8 and last 7, I would say, or first 9 and then the last 7.
But the last half was really good. Yeah, but like I was gonna say, the droid that works for when they go and find their kyber crystals and then come back and they're like, let's build her up. Like he was like the manly version of C-3PO. You know, like him and R2 are like, and I'm like, oh, I like this guy. Like, why didn't this guy hang out with R2 more?
I was gonna mention that. And we'll get through our particulars here in a minute as far as the pre-Clone Wars stuff. But was C-3PO not in any episode this entire season?
He was not in any episode this season.
Oh.
And that's probably why it was one of the best seasons.
And then Anthony Daniels sued him.
Right. Yeah. He's still sitting in his armor somewhere. I'm waiting for my call. We are talking about season 5 of the Clone Wars. If you just come in this season or this episode and you're like, oh, what are they talking about? This is a Star Wars podcast. So
before we jump into it, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of explanation of some of the pictures I sent you over the last few days.
Okay.
So I went to the Washington Coast with my family.
What was it? The what?
I went to the Washington Coast with my family. So on the way, you go through Aberdeen. Shout out Kurt Cobain. There was a store there that this guy from my work had told me about a week ago. He's like, oh, he found out I was going up there and he's like, oh, have you ever been to that? He goes, I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan. I was like,
I do a podcast.
I was like, yeah, my kids are huge fans and yeah, I like it.
I happen to be a mic on the fastest growing podcast in the Republic.
Yeah, I wasn't going to just throw that out. He said there's a store there that's just crazy. Like it's got all sorts of stuff from all over, from years and years going back of all this different Star Wars paraphernalia. So I was like, okay, so went there, took the kids there, went in, and it was just this crazy. I mean, it had so many obscure things, like everything from, newspapers and magazines to giant Boba Fett's, which, I showed it to you guys.
Yeah.
$5,000? You out of your fucking mind? So then I saw the Jabba barge, Leia, which I sent you that picture.
Slave Leia.
And the most pasty white mannequin that they could find.
Right, exactly.
Faceless.
And it was a son of a bitch getting that in the back of the car. It was really hard to fit it in there with all our stuff.
I figured you'd put your special lady friend in the back and let Slave Leia
Lady friend's like, why are we not having the same room tonight? Don't worry about it.
I got to get a room for Leia.
Yeah.
I'm going to use her to drive in the HOV lanes. Just put her in the passenger seat. No, I actually stuck her through the sunroof. She just sat in the middle console, head out the window,
like
looking.
tits up.
But the other funny thing was in the back corner, at one point I go around the corner, my lady friend goes there after me and she's like, did you see? And I was like, yeah. So my son, the older son, the consultant, he walks back to this corner that has old Playboys. And I'm like, let's see how this goes.
How old is your oldest?
He's 11.
Oh, well, do you let him go through it?
Well, I was thinking, is he going to notice? Is he going to call it out? Is he going to say anything? Am I going to have to check his waist for
Is he even going to know what a Playboy is?
At least you're checking for some. I could have checked his waist for what? I was like, leave him alone. Totally natural.
It is natural.
He's periscoping? Is that what you're thinking?
I'm not going to go there. It's not my kid.
So then the other thing that was funny about it was, it felt like being in somebody's attic or something.
It looked like you were at like an indoor flea market.
Kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. Yeah. It was real kind of dingy in there. A bunch of random shit.
like a Star Wars consignment shop.
Pretty much. And the price tags were just incredible. Like some of the stuff, at one point my son picked up this gun. He's like, I want to get this. And I was like, it's like $80. I was like, no. That's a piece of shit. We're not getting that for $80.
Dave can make you that for $70.
Yeah, right. I'll make you a deal. I'm sure there was some deals involved there. But the funny part too is we noticed when we walked in on the door, it said no mask required. We're like, oh, okay. So we walk in there and there's all this signage up, all spread around throughout the place saying, COVID, the biggest scam in the history of our country. Like He was really pushing this envelope, and we're just like, okay. But we left and basically all took a bath and hand sanitizer.
So wait, did you all walk in and you felt compelled to take your masks off?
Well, we kept them on, and I was like, are we
you?
being judged right now? Is he going to give us the business about this? Nobody else in the store had them on. Anybody else who walked in? Nope. I was like, well, this is a different place.
Wow. I thought maybe it was no stormtrooper masks. Like you don't have to wear your helmets, but okay.
No, it was full on. He had a whole agenda. It was pretty interesting. So we're like, all right, well, it was great. I was said to my lady friend at one point, I'm like, should we buy something like really cheap just so we don't just walk out? She's like, no, let's just walk out.
Oh, you guys didn't buy anything?
No.
It was all just like, it was a quick spectator
Probably would have
sport.
charged you guys double or triple because you wore your fucking masks.
I know. It'd be like, hey, maskers, hey, fakers. Yeah. Well, then I took that picture. That's the side of the building, that big mural with all those crazy paintings. Yeah, so pretty funny.
And then like behind the slave Leia was Watto.
Watto.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
And
it was like that everywhere you looked. It was just all this random stuff. You're like, how did he find this? How does he have this? It was so bizarre.
Yeah, I didn't know some of that shit existed. I was like zooming in on the photos, like trying to see what the trinkets and shit was, like on the tables, and I was like, man, this is a weird little fucking shop.
What if you would have found Dave in there?
He's back there building lightsabers.
He's back by the pornos. Just, oh, hey, Matt.
All of a sudden, his lightsaber ignites. Oh, nothing to see here.
This is a boot to get weird.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna say he was chained in the back because the guy's making him make sabers, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
Chained wearing the gimp mask from fucking.
That's right.
A gimp mask
Pulp
and a
Fiction.
pink robe.
Pulp Fiction, thank you.
Yeah.
You know my brain's on like 2%.
He's like, oh, did you? Am I supposed to be shooting a video somewhere?
Did you have a deadline on that? The blaster I was supposed to make for you?
Say we don't have him building anything. I love how Matt messages us. It's like, do we have this in our budget this year? And it's the fucking $5,000 bounty hunter fucking guy. I was like, oh my god, no.
Cole's response is perfect. Tell him you can only pay half in calamari flan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just would like piecemeal it out. Like we each get a piece of it to wear, and then we trade. Well, let's say it's both.
It's like
of ours.
our best car as we collect.
It's both of ours, but we'll just keep it at my place.
Yeah, we get to sleep on it. We each get a day.
I'll share out a picture or two this week on our account so people know what we're talking about.
All right. On the show today, we have a whole slew of things to get through now that we've gone through Matt's pawn shop ordeal. We've got a question of the week. We got some news. We've got we're going to cover season 5. We've got 3 in the mall bag. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
No FACPA factoid, but you know what? The night's still young and Cole is still sober. So let's see what happens here. Let's go into the question of the week. You want to read that, Cole?
I'll do that.
All right.
While a few Jedi seem to dual wield lightsabers, reference Ahsoka, and Kreeth, it seems to be a Sith style of fighting. Yet whenever a Jedi dual wields, he turns into a complete badass, reference Obi-Wan versus Savage and Maul in Season 5. Why do the Jedi seem reluctant to take on this type of fighting? Is it frowned upon? Are certain races more adept at it than others? What are your thoughts?
All right, first of all, we forgot the Emperor in 2 fucking sabers.
Right, yeah, he's a Sith, right?
Like all of a sudden he goes straight up like murderous.
Well, I wrote this at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
So that's why.
And even at the end of the season, his name is Anakin. He uses 2. I'm like, where's everyone getting 2 sabers from? And you know, the only person that doesn't use 2 or even the double-sided one in the whole scene is Darth Maul.
Oh,
but he might use 2, but he doesn't use because Savage.
It seems to be a go-to though for the Sith, right?
Yeah.
And it's always like one of the Jedi will die and then or get knocked down, and the other Jedi will pick up his saber, and then all of a sudden he's the best. Like Obi-Wan taking on Maul and Savage at the same time, and then the Emperor is fighting the same exact 2 guys later on.
Right.
And like, the Emperor is doing just as good as Obi-Wan took off Savage's arm.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
And then like I love like how he just shows up later and it's back on.
Yeah, he's got a mechanical arm.
Oh, did he? I didn't even notice because I'm looking.
They fixed it.
Yeah, there was no mechanical arm. It was just his arm.
Death Watch gives him an arm.
Oh, then I missed that. That was the intro thing. Okay.
You're probably celebrating one of your 15
there was a lot
birthdays.
going on as I was watching. I was like, quiet! Watch Star Wars! We're at a fucking couple $100 Japanese steakhouse meal, and I'm sliding to the fucking side, and my daughter yells across, like, you know how the tables are like in a U shape? There's like 7 or 8 of us, you know, so she's on the other end of the U, and she's like, are you watching Star Wars over there? Quiet!
Happy birthday.
I'm hiding in the corner. I'm drinking my beer, watching Star Wars.
I am present.
I'm 43 years old watching cartoons in a fucking Japanese steakhouse. It's never been done before.
You have landed.
Yeah.
Tinder beware.
Ladies.
To answer your question, I think that there's probably some tradition involved. One of the things they talk about in the Clone Wars throughout, and they did it again this year, was the whole where peacekeepers were not soldiers and warriors.
Yeah.
So maybe it's meant to be more of a defensive type weapon. So when you get 2, it's more aggressive, and that seems like
that sounds right. Yeah.
That would be my guess as to why that's the case. I mean, obviously Ahsoka has 2, but her second one is that. I can't remember. Is it what's it called? I can't remember the name of it, but that's like that kind of defensive side weapon. It's a secondary.
I didn't know it had a name. Is it like Deadpool?
Shoto? Not Shoto.
Deadpool and his 2 swords? B. Arthur?
Is it? It's like modeled after the samurai.
Yeah, and it's shorter.
Right?
Seppuku?
Yeah, they've got a short sword.
Yep.
Which is like a shorter dagger almost, right? I didn't recognize that they were both. One was shorter than the other.
Yeah, one is. Yeah.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's green and they're green. So maybe you guys know more than I do, but she has a green and a yellow in this season. But then eventually, like in The Mandalorian, she's got the white.
Well, no, I think she has 2. Aren't they both green? They're both green.
I thought one was green, one was yellow.
Pretty sure they're both green. And then what's going to happen is, I think, is the white's going to represent that she's neutral because obviously at the end of the season something big happens, and that's why you're going to see that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yes.
I think I'm assuming her blade's color changes or something.
Yes.
At that point in time. Okay, cool. I was wondering about that because you guys both seemed to know when we were watching The Mandalorian. And I just kind of nodded and like, yeah, I know too. But no, I didn't have any idea. I'm calling myself out.
You can't go two-handed.
40% here on this podcast. It's okay.
You can put a little more strength into it, I guess, if you go two-handed on one saber than just swinging the 2 around. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. Is it just it's some sort of traditional defensive posture to use just the 1 instead of the 2?
They need to make a scimitar type saber. That'd be cool. A curved blade.
Well, the dark saber sort of has like the sword edge.
Some cool dark saber fights with the trailing of the shadow, like when the fight. Some really cool dark saber fights this season.
There's some fucking Darth Maul.
Pre-Vizsla.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff in this season.
Shit. Yeah.
What do you say we get to it after we answer this question?
Well, Matt kind of enlightened us. I
guess. I mean, if you guys have any other thoughts, that's my thinking.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with your. I like where you went with that.
I think it's the smartest thing to say. Yeah, and I'm not going to make a decision because I'm a few Japanese steakhouse beers in, and I'm just going to agree to disagree.
And you've got frosting all over your sleeve too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, happy birthday, Haley.
News. Quick news. Do you want to do the first one, Cole?
Yeah, sure. So to the listeners and to anyone who's interested, I suppose, this was brought to us by one of our listeners, producer of another show, Kyle, right? She introduced us to this is called the May the 4th Be With You 5K, 10K, 13.1K.
Whatever you want to do.
It's a run, but it's a virtual run. And what you would do is, Matt, can you will you put the link to this in like the description or something?
Notes? Yeah.
Or the show notes? Yeah. It's basically it's just a run, and then anytime during the month of May, after the 4th of May, of course, which is Star Wars Day.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. You can do a virtual run. I think it's $40, and you get if you're a female, you can get like a female tank top. A guys, you can get just a T-shirt, and then they send you a race placard. What do they call those? The tags that you pin to your stomach.
It was a bib.
Yeah, bib. That's the name of it. Good job, bib. And then you may have the Fortuna.
You can win the bib
of
Fortuna.
Running.
Yeah. I hope you win the bib Fortuna.
So yeah, this is it's called metaldash.com. So if you wanted to sign up, it's may4th.metaldash.com. Matt will put the link to the description in the show notes. But I think we've all three agreed to pledge to, in some way, shape, or form, log the miles.
Yes.
I kind of want to do the half. I want to kind of try the half.
You do a half marathon?
Although I fucking blew my knee up this week, and I don't know what's wrong with it.
Like how?
I have no clue. It's been it's either inflamed or...
Let me see it.
No.
Let me do a Miyagi on it.
I'm not going to let you see.
Let's take a look at it right now.
Let me touch it.
It's like an Amish porn
Let
where
me
you
poke
show the ankle.
Yeah.
Show a little bit of ankle to you.
Ooh.
So Matt said he was going to do the half marathon too. Jason?
I did not say that.
I said I was going to watch both of you do it.
My running days are long gone, but I'll figure out something to
Immediately you were like, wait, we have to run?
Matt's going to meet the rest of his friends at the mall, and they're going to speed walk for 3.1 miles.
Might do it.
Over the month. No, but I thought it'd be a fun little competition. Not even a competition, just a fun little event for us all to do. Celebrate May 4th.
How many miles is a half marathon?
13.1.
Wow.
The WoW.
And you've never ran that many. Like you've gotten up to 8, right?
My PR is 8. Yep, I've done 8 in a row without stopping.
That's your personal record for those that are not.
It's not public relations. Okay. Personal record. Yes.
But you don't have to do it all in one shot. It's telling you could do it over the course of whatever those 2 weeks are, or 4 weeks are, I guess.
Yes. Yep. Over the month of the rest of the month minus 4 days.
Well, okay. So I will agree to do 30 miles in the month.
30 miles?
Sure, I walk at least a mile a day.
I mean, I feel like you got to run. And I think they want you to not live stream it or anything, but take a picture and like tag a tagline or whatever.
Every day I tag a picture of me like not sweating at all. It was just a mile.
You should just do the most like the
walking
opposite
to your mailbox.
Yeah.
Opposite of running.
Real struggle here, people.
That's
like
200 feet.
One with a piece of pizza, one with a cheeseburger, one with a large Coke.
Every day, like I'm putting in a mile. I'm gonna get 30 miles, but I look like Jabba the Hutt by the end of the month.
I thought
this didn't work at all.
Yeah, I thought it said 30,000 calories.
This Star Wars diet's not working.
Really quickly, does it put us all kind of in the same group, or is it more individual?
As for what? Like what? If you
do we have like a FACPA group that we kind of all see what everybody's doing, or is it just kind of your own deal?
We can organize it however you guys want.
Let's do a FACPA group.
I like that idea. That sounds like
all
fun.
right. But we will put that link out there.
So the prices, it looks like it's $42.75. Run or Run Not is the name of that price. It's a short sleeve shirt, medal and bib. Oh, you get a medal as well. One virtual run.
Unless you're Chewbacca.
You can do as low as $35.75, which is just the medal and the bib only. You don't get a shirt.
And you don't have to run. You just get the medal and the bib. Thanks.
So for $5 less, you just get it.
This goes directly to subsidizing moisture farms on Tatooine. So
awesome.
Guys,
let's help out everybody.
Worthwhile.
Royal Farm Boy is like, don't you dare. He's like, I need the subsidy.
The Empire has been paying to fucking have me grow corn out here for years. Don't you dare. Yeah. Right. If you wanna join, or if you are gonna join, just tag us on Twitter or email the show.
I'm all about it.
Let us know some way, shape, or form. We three shall do some set of mileage.
We'll put at least 40% effort into it.
I'll do the 13.1 over the month. I might try to just do it straight.
Okay.
I might try to give it a shot and just call that my half. But I don't know. I've been running super slow.
What do you think about putting me in one of those like Asian carriages?
I can do like a
rickshaw.
Yeah, rickshaw.
Or I could do like the ALS challenge, put you in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
like they do.
Okay.
They push the.
Do I have to make noises or anything?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
I'm not gonna keep this PC for once.
Matt's like every week. He's like, why do I do this show?
I should just say it to myself in the recording. Edit that out.
It's bringing me down. Don't you dare.
Just give yourself a trigger word. It's savage.
Yeah.
And then you know. We'll think you're talking about something Star Wars.
It's like he doesn't know what he's getting into. He listens, like you've been a listener for what, a decade? Now you're like,
I have a board. I just mark it down every time. Like, yep, there's another one.
Yeah.
Check marks and gold
there's so many. He's like, I have to quit now. Why? My lady friend says I'm done. You wouldn't have the first lady friend that made you quit one of my shows or any show I've belonged to.
The only other news bit I was going to mention was just that Disney announced that they're adding a bunch of like retro Star Wars content in April of Disney Plus, which I thought was kind of funny. So they're adding the Ewoks Battle of Endor, that 85 TV movie with Wilford Brimley. And I didn't realize that Paul Gleason's in it. Dick Vernon from Breakfast Club. He's in that movie. I had no idea.
Which one is that?
He's the vice principal who's like fucking with them the whole time. Yeah, he's in that movie.
Oh, wow.
So
first of all, I just heard you say the Oatmeal Man's in it.
No. He's the vice principal. He's the one. He's like, I make $37,000 a year, and I'm a
fuck with the bull.
Yeah. He's the kid's the main character, the girl's dad. I think she gets killed right off the bat.
Wait, you're talking about the Star Wars?
Oh, sorry, you're talking about Star Wars. You're talking about Breakfast Club.
Yes.
Yeah, I was.
Sorry, this is a Star Wars.
I was like,
podcast.
one of the kids' dads
Sorry,
dies?
I'm out. I was off there. My bad.
I'm the one running on 3 hours of fucking brain power here, which made no sense.
I feel good.
And that's a sequel. They made technically that's a sequel. They made a first one. I don't remember seeing any of those. I mean, I think I saw bits of it, but it's amazing how much of this content is like mid 80s. They were really pushing mid 80s post.
And they're also putting the Cartoon Network Clone Wars.
Yes, have you seen that before?
I've seen bits and pieces because they were just shorts that would play in between different animated cartoons years ago, and then they released like I don't know if it was a DVD or a double DVD, but I think like all of the footage combined is like just a little, maybe an hour, something like that. It's not very long.
Oh, okay. The action looks like the video game Dragon's Lair. You know, when you're the knight,
it's Kennedy Tars. How do you say his name? He's the guy who did Powerpuff Girls, right? Samurai Jack. And what else is he famous for?
How do you
he's
know
a
this?
big animator. I don't know. I pick up shit that no one needs to know.
So Ewoks Battle of Endor, I want to say was one of the VHS recorded movies that my grandma and grandpa would record for us because we didn't have cable or anything, so we'd watch those. Terminator, Batman,
so that was the original Star Wars to you?
No, I mean, shit. Where did we see Star Wars? I'm trying to remember. I think they might have been on VHS as well, but we had to fast forward through the commercials because they recorded all the commercials. They
didn't hit pause.
Nope, they wouldn't pause for us.
Wow,
we weren't spoiled.
They wouldn't pause for us.
You had to tweak with the tracking dial.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about tracking.
Yeah. Why didn't you record this on SLP?
And I stuck it in my...
taking up the whole tape, Ma!
Stuck it in my Lamborghini car rewinder. And pushed it down.
Grandma's like, I recorded this Star Wars show for you. Here's the tape. And you get home and you're like, what the fuck is a beta?
Hey, I had beta.
Yeah, so did I. I'll tell you a story about why me and my teenage friends all had betas and no one else did.
Oh, yeah?
You could trade movies that your parents didn't know what you were watching.
Oh, yeah. I gotcha. Clever.
Yeah.
Until they get stuck in the VCR when your mom's pulling in the driveway. No.
Might have happened.
Get it out.
Moving on.
Anthony Daniels, of course, lent his voice to the Clone Wars series because, again, he's fucking ever. They could literally be like, we're going to do a Star Wars porn. He'd be like, in.
Yeah. I think he's like the only one that's like been in everything.
Yeah. Except for this season of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I wonder if they felt bad. So they were like, you know what? Just come in and read the credits.
Yeah. I think maybe.
Did you notice twice in this season they changed the coloring, or was it once? It was the Clone Wars was in blue. And
blue.
I think it was, was there just the blue?
Last year they did red.
Red.
This year they did blue during the droid episodes.
Yep.
I think it was the droid episodes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And that's why we all wore blue today.
Right.
I'm not wearing blue. Anyway,
yes, you are.
They also did Star Wars Ewoks Season 1 and 2, which is an animated series. I don't remember ever watching that.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't remember that at all. And then, of course, the story of the faithful Wookiee, which is the short that was part of the holiday special where we first saw Boba Fett.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that all is being added to Disney Plus next month.
Okay.
What season of FACPA do you think we're going to get desperate enough where we have to cover this for content?
Oh, God. I think we might quit the show by then. I'm going to quit the show.
Someone's quitting the show every week. So
yeah. Should we get into season 5?
Season 5?
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's discuss this all 20 episodes of season 5 of the Clone Wars.
So a couple of things we already mentioned. The commitment to the droid episodes was a little bit but I thought it started really strong, like you said, Cole, and the youngling stuff was kind of hit and miss for me. So that and the droids back to back.
Right.
By the time we got to the last 7 episodes, I was like, good. And then it just flew, and I absolutely loved it. I love the fact that they had Katie Sackhoff's voice as Bo, of course, because that was the original. Yep. And so having that connection to The Mandalorian, which we just watched, made it all the cooler. And also, this season had this was like the season where they're like, you don't think we'll kill off people? Oh, we'll kill off people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shit got real.
It starts off with Obi-Wan adding another hand to his trophy case. He cuts Savage's hand off. In the
arm,
middle of
whole arm.
His whole arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude cuts off more hands than the guys at the beginning of Robin Hood.
Is this are you noticing? There's a few times where they show, no pun intended, but Obi-Wan getting a little Savage in this season. Like you see a darker, more willing to harm. Especially when he gets to the Mandalorian shit, you think he's just gonna after they his friend,
his
you
lady
think,
friend.
oh, and even was it Maul? He's like, let the darkness flow through you, but he kind of switches his wording, but basically it's the same thing.
He's a little obsessed. They come upon a safe full of credits, and Maul's like, I don't give a fuck about that money.
Right?
Where's Obi-Wan gonna be?
Yeah.
Dude, you're rich. What do you?
Could the rest of your life you can relax somewhere. Fuck this
Go
war.
retire on that casino planet from episode 7.
But then he'll like play it cool sometimes. He'll be like, "Oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi showed up." Like he'll be like, "Oh, look at you being here," But other times it looks like he is so consumed with him that it's all he ever thinks about. But then he shows up and he's like, "Oh, hey, I didn't even know you were coming." Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So anticlimactic. So I don't know what really played to me is this build up with Maul and like he's gone through another set of legs and right he's got a new set of legs from the Mandalorians, and then Savage gets a new arm. From watching Rebels, like you see the confrontation between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, and it's the most simplistic, anticlimactic ending to that saga between those two. And in my opinion, I mean, I don't know, it wasn't a big old drawn out scene.
The fight in Tatooine by the campfire?
Yeah.
Not that big?
I thought it was a huge moment, and we can save it for when we get to Star Wars Rebels because there's a cool like tidbit about what happens in that scene and why it goes down the way it does. I'll save it for then.
Okay. All right. Well,
foreshadowing.
I guess I'll just sit here in turmoil until then.
Yeah.
I just love that whole episode. That Twin Sons episode I thought was pretty sweet in Rebels. I can't wait to get to Rebels.
I can't either, but we have a whole season of the Bad Batch to get through. But we're on the Clone Wars right now. Let's discuss that.
Yep. Well, so episode 1 is all the Maul and Savage, like just working that outer rim, right?
Uh-huh.
And
stop it.
Killing Jedi and shit. So Kenobi and Adi go out there and realize they're going to go like basically try to hook up with the pirates and get the pirates on board with them. And then that turns into a whole thing. That fight sequence they had where it was Kenobi and Adi against Maul and Savage, when Savage like gives her the fucking horns, the headbutt to the chest, and then sabers her. I was like, woof, vicious.
Didn't take it easy on her at all. No, for sure.
And then the scene where he's actually fighting both of them, Kenobi, because this is when he takes off Savage's arm. But the fact that they keep showing him kicking his knee, remember that?
Yeah. And
he was like slowly
the camera
breaking
like
it.
keeps showing. There's even one shot where he's like, where they let Kenobi look at his knee. I'm like, what is going on here? He's got like a fetish.
It's like a Nick Diaz leg kick.
Yeah, and then that's eventually what happens. He breaks his fucking knee and then slices his arm off, and then is able to get out of there. But or I guess they leave. They take off because he kind of teamed up with Hondo. But then he gets back, and Palps is like, you know what? Let's not worry about them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is basically like a wink and a nod to like wait till the end of the season, people.
Yeah, because Kenobi's like, the crime underworld might be a problem here. We're not really checking it at all. And he's like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We need to worry about the separatists.
How many times, like, it's a drinking game, I've noticed. When you're watching the show, thankfully, like, I've never have a beer in my hand when I watch the show, mostly. When you're like, do you watch and you're like, okay, is he gonna rub the beard and give the think? Is it gonna happen? Like, all the time. Or when another character does it, I'm like, you can't do that. That's Obi-Wan's move.
Yeah, you can't do that. Just because you're Jedi doesn't mean you get to rub the beard. That's not fair.
Like, we get it. That's the think. But come on.
Yeah. And then we move on to Onderon, which that whole sequence was pretty sweet. So, I mean,
how many
obviously,
episodes were you into before you were like, oh, not Alderaan?
I had Alderaan written in my notes.
Yeah.
Did you?
Subtitles saved me. It said Onderon. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I always watch with subtitles on, just because the names and the planets and the systems.
Yeah.
Like I'll never, sometimes it's hard to get those. So I like how the capital's name is ISIS.
I was gonna ask you guys, did you guys catch the parallels, the metaphors, the symbolism with like this is supposed to be some sort of like homage to terrorism, right? Like they're training the Jedi are really reluctant.
They were the terrorists,
right? They're very reluctant, which I don't seem to understand. So maybe you guys can.
I didn't either.
Break it down to me. They seem very reluctant to train these, I guess, the rebels on that planet to fight against the clone army, the separatist army.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Jedi.
What do they have compunction all of a sudden?
There was like some fucking federal turf law or some shit where they
defended thousands of worlds.
Like they're allowed to defend themselves with sabers and teach them warfare, but they can't actively participate in the warfare. And I'm like, well, you are participating by teaching them.
Right.
Like what? Like this didn't make any sense to me either.
It kind of turns into a whole Iran-Contra situation. But what's funny is that they say, like Anakin is freaking out the whole time about it, Mr. Passionate. He's like, we got to help him. We got to fight him.
Yeah.
And Kenobi's rubbing his beard and saying we can't do it. And I think what his point was that he says something. He says that like funding them to overthrow a legitimate government puts innocent lives at risk. So what he's saying, I think, is we're going to put innocent lives at risk. And also, since it's technically the government of this system, we can't just overthrow it because we don't like them. we have to work within the confines of whatever that, political. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's why they're hesitant to make that step, even though it seems obvious. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Because they're literally controlled by the Separatists. So why wouldn't you just jump in?
Right. Because the king was taken over in prison.
He's like a figurehead.
Yeah, and this guy who thinks he's fucking a Roman Empire, he's wearing the golden leaf platelet crown and all this shit, and he's always eating a plum.
He's like the regent from Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, the guy that gets burned. Yeah. Was it Boromir's uncle or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's just, and he seems in over his head the whole time, and he just does not know what to do. Mm-hmm. But I did like the fact that we actually meet Saw Gerrera.
Yes, a young Saw Gerrera and his sister
Stila,
who's a badass.
She is awesome.
Yeah, give her a sniper rifle.
She was a badass.
Yeah. Rest in
peace.
Did
you know? Yeah, I was trying to figure out at first the relationship, and then of course you had the whole Lux, Ahsoka, Stila love triangle going on.
Yeah, she's getting a little jealous.
And Lux, last time we saw Lux was he was on the planet.
He got arrested for telling Dooku, "You killed my mom."
Yes.
And then Ahsoka busted him out. And then remember they went to the Sea of the
Mandalorians.
He threw her in Watch. He was going to join Death
the
Watch.
trap and yep.
Yeah, right.
Or they separated via him taking the escape pod.
Yeah, they did the hand on the glass.
Right. The Kirk and Spock thing.
That's right.
Did you guys ever did you notice that Saw picks up his sister and dances her around during the celebration, and then Lux is looking over at her what's going on here? Or
he's I know the Star Wars universe. I know how brothers and sisters.
But then Ahsoka's looking at him. There's a quadruple triangle.
There's a little bit of And the whole time I'm waiting for is this when Saw has to get a breathing apparatus? I'm always waiting for something to happen to him that tells us this is the origin of old man Saw. But we don't see that yet.
Somebody's gonna slice his lung, and you're gonna be like, finally, that's why.
Picked up smoking after the death of his sister.
I feel like we see Saw one more time.
In the Clone Wars?
Yeah.
I don't know about
because we have 2 seasons left, right?
But he's in Rebels.
He's in Rebels.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we see an older version of him, yes.
Yeah. Right. And I think it's actually voiced by Forrest Whitaker once you get to Rebels. This is a different voice.
Did you guys catch the most impressive from Anakin when they're doing their training? He goes, most impressive. But he says it just like normal Anakin.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah, there are a lot of those lines. I know we've called them out before, and I'll call out more as we go, but there's a lot of those lines where they're straight pulls from, the original trilogy and stuff like that, those quotes.
I want to say the cell block reference later on. They're cell block 11378 or something like that. They say the numbers. I'm that sounded really
familiar. Close to the THX 1137?
1138.
138? Okay.
TK421. Why are you not at your post?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I love the word for it. I'm always yeah, I got you. Little homage.
Sometimes you're looking for Easter eggs that aren't, right? Because you're hearing shit and you're like, what does that mean?
They also must have listened to the FACPA podcast because we get a full breakdown on how the destroyers work and their weaknesses because we were talking about that full on for a while.
So they went into the future, listened to our episode, went back in the past, and then made the episode.
Fully animated the show.
Quit fucking with my head, Matt. You know I don't do timelines.
He doesn't do timelines. It's all linear.
I don't do timelines. Quit. You want me to quit the show? I'll quit the show right now.
You're gonna find yourself on Wikipedia. You're gonna go there. It's gonna be Cole, confused by timelines. Born.
Just a picture of me.
Derping.
Picking my nose. Or picking something out of my teeth.
But then I like the fact too that they train him, of course, and I like that it happened last season too with the when the clones are trying to fly the starfighters. They don't just go, okay, they picked it up immediately. They actually show you. They have the time to say, look, they had to train. They had to. God damn this motherfucker.
That's you.
That was me. They have the.
I'm happy you are about that.
Don't you dare edit that out.
But they show them kind of screwing up, and getting better and all that kind of stuff. So I like how they show them grow. And then basically they turn them into, they're doing this almost like guerrilla warfare, small attacks, within the capital city to kind of throw everything into disarray. And then they kind of start getting into this whole political game of we're going to drop these little
attack the power plant.
Well, that, and then also we're going to drop these little holograms of, Stila saying, hey, join us. These guys are screwing you over and we're trying to liberate.
Shout out to almost like a propaganda move.
Yeah, exactly.
But it wasn't. They were the good guys, kind of. Well, depends on your point of view. But yeah, I noticed that too.
Would you say it was from a certain point of skew?
I noticed that as well. The move and fight tactics that they were doing going through the city of Isis. Like, I just granted you that.
Yeah. I like how you just like, I'm not even acknowledging that.
I'll just say that's funny.
What?
Now,
what Matt edited out was like 5 seconds of quiet and you writing down in a notepad, I hate you. And showing it to me.
Holding it up while he's talking.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next point.
Please stop.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, so like you get the move, it's like almost like a bounding Overwatch or like a leapfrogging move they were doing, like the one Tears of the Sun type shit, right? One group will move and the other one will peel off. Like I noticed a little bit of that, and then you get to episode 4 where they're doing you get to see the coolest beheading apparatus, like a laser guillotine.
Right.
You see that?
Which was weird because like you get to stick your head in it, but nothing happens until the droid with a shock stick gives it a little pokey.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
little pokey poke.
Yeah, they're like, well, for example, let's put a plum in
melon.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that fruit that they were looking for the season before? R2 and Obi-Wan and the
Yes.
droids are going out for fruit.
For the to go with the party.
Yeah.
They need 3 of them or whatever.
Fruit
They end up at the
something?
fucking
What was
spa. Right.
Yeah, but it's such a weird device because it's like, is this your way of making sure everything's lined up before you slice his head?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't want to screw it up and do it partially. You want to just really make sure it's a nice clean cut. So you got to stick your head all the way in there and then hit the zap.
It's also
it's like a bug zapper.
It's a dual purpose thing. It gives flat tops as well if you want a flat top haircut.
Sure, it does. Yeah.
So yeah, Steela really kind of takes over. You know, she gets basically named the leader, which Saw's not all that thrilled about because I think he thought he was the man.
Yep.
Sibling rivalry.
Yep. And then she's, pushing the locals to support that denned up guy. And then so that Rash, with the golden, he decides he's going to kill him. He's like, let's just execute him. They put him in that thing that you were talking about, the guillotine.
Yep.
They break him out. The general comes back to save him. And like all hell breaks loose. And the people finally are kind of like, yeah, fuck you. We're done with this shit.
Right. Like we think we're done. And then like, oh no, we've got a whole nother episode for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what was in the next episode?
That's where they like
Episode
break out
5,
and they go have a base somewhere else. And now
Oh,
they've
right.
got
Lure the droid army out there and get their ass kicked.
Right. Yep.
And then like Anakin or someone.
And then they
sends
show
him-
up with like these weird drone ships with faces.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden they're like, oh well, hold on. Then they bring Hondo back in with some bazookas.
Rocket launchers.
Yeah, he comes in from nowhere. Like,
But they
Hondo's
have to
just like,
supply separately. They got to work around it. They can't directly supply it. So they're like,
Right.
let's get Hondo and he'll send.
yeah,
him
we'll
over.
just bring a pirate in with some bazookas.
I like, by the way, at one point, I think it's Ahsoka was talking about Steela, and she said she sure leads by example. And Luck says, "What good will that do us if she gets herself killed?"
Yeah.
So it's a lot of those
You're right.
references over and over and over again. So funny.
And then cue the fall from the cliffhanger shot out. Sylvester Stallone holding her. She fucking falls off.
Sylvester Stallone.
That got me. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I was a little upset when
Yeah.
she died. She was a cool
I liked
character.
her.
Break off real quick. There's the first time since watching this, there's a few things that happen in this season where it seems like it's almost ripped, or the High Republic book that we're in the middle of has ripped ideas from, like, visually. Like, I'm seeing things and I'm like, oh, now I can kind of visualize what the hell they were interpreting in the book from things that have happened in this season.
That's pretty deep.
No? Okay.
No, I mean, I don't. My brain doesn't work that way, apparently.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
At some point, we'll have you guys break down the High Republic a little bit on the show.
It is as if Tom Clancy wrote a Star Wars book.
Oh, is it really?
It goes on and on. Like, it literally took us 4.5 hours just for them to save this ship that. So something explodes during hyperdrive and comes out of hyperdrive, and all of these pieces are flying everywhere, and it's destroying this system. And the Jedi show up, and they've got to like focus their powers and use together, and they've got to save before it annihilates all these planets or whatever.
That's all prime.
And it takes forever.
It's like watching somebody do a jigsaw puzzle.
It's like, it's not bad, but it is like, how long are they going to fucking take? Like, literally, we've been listening to this for 30 fucking hours, and we're in the same fucking, like, we have not even, like, we get it. This is the setup to the plot, but let's move on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking books, man. Why read? Just
Right.
take
Yeah. Am I the only one that feels that way?
It drags on
Okay.
for sure. But you get to kind of learn some interesting stuff
It's
about
done
how the Force works.
right. Yeah, it's well written, and the guy who does the voices, like, he does like 87 voices, and kudos to him for
He
fucking
has a-
remember who what character is what and where. But wow,
That The one I was calling out sounded just like Donald Trump.
Yeah,
remember
the chairman or whatever, the Hexall Prime.
Yeah,
Prime. Well, if you're doing 87 voices, that's going to come in somewhere. At some point, you're going to do a Donald Trump voice or something.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty.
Fucking... I got this in my repertoire. I'm not going to let it go to waste.
Dead on, yeah.
So eventually, on that episode, Dooku's like, "All right, get out of there. Like, we're going to evacuate." They get their system back, and then Lux becomes the new senator, and that's kind of the end of that arc. But I really like that whole sequence. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So we go into the next arc, which is a bit of like. I guess Jedi lore almost.
What are we on? Are we on tipping points?
The Gathering.
Episode 6, The Gathering, right? Or I don't know if that's the name of it. I'm on my own notes here.
No, you're right.
You get to see the younglings in action going to hunt for their own kyber crystals. Mm-hmm. And I thought this was going to be more of a Luke in the cave type of a thing, right? Where they're going to go in there and they're going to see visions of shit and possible futures, and they're going to have to battle like almost a hologram or a version of themselves. But no, it's just a bunch of different obstacles. And it's supposed to teach at the end. It teaches, what does it teach? It teaches all the Jedi principles and like patience, selflessness, courage. Each of them learn
sort of what they're lacking.
A trait that
they have
lacking.
to use. Yeah.
So, also the Wookiee youngling, he's so cute. I love that little guy with a little weird tooth.
You just want to pet him.
I want one.
Good boy. He's a good boy.
Yeah, I want one.
Yeah, I thought that whole sequence was sweet, but it was cool to see the background on it. That cave with the statues was pretty sweet looking that they were in when they walked in. That was awesome. But yeah, and then of course in the end, Yoda's like, "I was just fucking with you. That wall wasn't. You're gonna be able to get through that wall, no problem."
Yeah.
A little determination.
And like for those who have been listening, I guess since the beginning, one of the discussions we had was what Mandalorian season 2 was the frozen planet we thought was going to be Ilium, where the Mandalorian takes Baby Yoda, who we find out is Grogu, and we think that's where he's going to pick his kyber crystal. Right. So like we're aware of these things, but like we actually get to see what the discussion was that we were hoping to see in that show.
And that's going to come up time and time again. Like later when we get into like the what are they? Not there when there's like the huts and the dark sun and all them, and they encounter the Pikes, which are in Solo. So like you keep seeing these things. We'll get to that in a minute. You keep seeing these things, and you're like, oh, so that didn't just get grasped out of thin air. Like so much of this comes from this series because it just laid out all this history.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you guys feel about this little arc with the younglings, and then eventually you get some Hondo action coming in?
I thought it progressed pretty good. Like at first I was like, okay, this is one of those kid episodes where we can do without, but it kept getting pretty good. Like, and it was actually like, it was good for, it almost showed like a growth for Ahsoka, right? Like, cause she sort of takes on like the master role.
Yep.
You know, and she grows as a character.
I don't know that it needed to be 4 episodes.
Right.
But I thought, like I said, it was hit and miss for me. Some of it was like, oh, this is really important. This is good historical stuff, like you mentioned with the Ahsoka thing. But other parts, I was like, okay, like let's move along. So it wasn't my favorite 4 episodes, but it certainly was not anywhere near the pits of the droid episodes.
Well, it was better than the droid episodes.
How would you guys think of the Circus Act that they put on?
Yeah, like I wanted to talk about that because instantly, all of a sudden, all 7 of them are fucking acrobats. Mm-hmm. And like, okay, you get it. Like, okay, so Jedis can move, they can flip, they can do shit. Okay, but like not in unison. Like all of a sudden they're standing off the other. They're building like this fucking like they look like they just fucking finished cheer camp.
Well, I feel like the only thing that's not plausible, I think they could use the Force, a little bit of the Force to kind of steady themselves, right?
Yeah.
But they seem to have a choreographed routine right off the jump. You know what I mean? Like
and like instantly the guy who runs this circus is like, oh yeah, join us, come on, we'll just go fucking go into now I forget his name, Hondo. That's what I said, Hondo or so.
There's very lax labor laws in the Outer Rim.
There really
for children.
is, yeah.
They don't have to be 15.
Well, they're all probably sharing a dorm, so they had time to goof around and do this stuff before. And they're like, finally, it pays off. We can do our routine. This is going to be great. Yeah, but the look on Ahsoka's face though when she sees and knows that it's them, she's like, oh god. That's kind of how I felt.
Told you not to come for me.
I was like, okay, this is for the 10-year-olds right here.
A little bit.
So they go to escape the planet. They spring Ahsoka. They're escaping the planet. Hondo's troops are chasing him, right? But in the meantime, Separatist forces occupy the planet. And you seem like that Dooku's just like, you know what? I'm going to fucking get Hondo back for holding me ransom. So he's
that's exactly what it was.
Pretty much payback.
Uh-huh. He sends Grievous in there. And right when Grievous walks in, I was like, yes! Finally, we fucking see somebody worth a shit in this damn series. Sorry. I got
Grievous?
Yeah, I like Grievous.
Oh,
You're a big Grievous fan.
I am.
I was kind of impressed by the Slave One craft that Hondo seems to have stored away in like the back of his trinkets closet.
I was like, I was half expecting to be like, oh, what's the tease they're gonna have here? Like all of a sudden they just pull into this secret bat cave in Hondo's mountains, and he's got this what looks like the Slave One, whether it is the official, just chilling there. And we're gonna fly away in that, and I'm like, who else is hanging out in this cave?
Yeah, that whole sequence is funny. I love the fact too he's like trying to blast Grievous and just can't. He's like firing one after another, just can't hit him.
He goes into like a what do they call that?
Fetal position.
Yeah, fetal position, and dodges every laser, just like laying in a fetal position.
It seems like the Slave One craft has the highest rate of fire for any of the blasters out there. It's like everyone else is like
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound effects are free on this show as well. Sorry.
And then Kenobi, Grievous also attacks Kenobi's ship. So does that happen after? Does he attacks Kenobi and Grievous battle before he comes to the planet?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he kind of attacks their ship and just goes balls out on the whole thing.
Yeah,
and then him and Kenobi go at it. And like every time it's like, they see each other from the distance, and the battle's happening between them. And you're like, oh, they're going to find each other.
And there's people off screen who are like, draw. This is a tie.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to win this one.
Ahsoka and Hondo, joined forces, right? They kind of joined forces to survive the invasion.
Yeah, because like my friend of the enemy is, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. And then what do they do at the end when they all show off their sabers? Let's touch tips.
They do. Yeah.
A little Knights of the Round Table.
Yep. And then we never see the younglings again.
I imagine they'll come back at some point.
Episode 3.
When they get slaughtered?
Where they get slaughtered. Thank you, man.
Were there any in that episode that you recognized from?
I don't know, because so far in
the only one I ever recognize is the one that does the little like when he hits the saber. He's like, what do you do, Master Skywalker?
Oliver Twist looking guy. Yeah.
Very well. There's too many of them. What should we do?
Do you want to touch tips?
Should we get into the droids? Oh boy.
I've got one line of notes. I take notes on all the episodes. It says, what the fuck are they thinking with these droid episodes? At one point, they're eating garbage in the middle of the episode. I'm like, what are we watching? Like,
how long was it watching this episode?
I fell asleep
until
twice.
You fucking realized that it's what's his face from SpongeBob.
I've never seen this episode of SpongeBob in my entire life.
The guy who keeps shouting, the colonel,
Gascon,
who Clank or Crank or what's his name? Are
you talking about the little dude?
The miner hat on, yeah. What's his Whack? His Whack.
You're talking about Whack the droid.
Whack keeps calling him Captain, but he's a colonel.
Right. And he keeps saying you're a map reader, which I thought that was kind of funny.
Yes.
He's got droid envy too. He's the worst of the droids. Like, you're just the pilot.
Yeah. But that mini little alien guy that rides fucking shotgun in the helmet or the head of the droid.
He's not.
He's Plankton. That's who he is from SpongeBob, and he keeps hollering, and I'm like, it was driving me crazy because it's the same thing. It's like this little guy who wants to be big and take over whatever, and I was like maybe 15 minutes into it, and it was like, and then that's all I could hear for 4 episodes.
Sorry, I just saw the hand creeping in and touching Jay.
He's wearing a Darth Vader shirt too.
I could only see the hand. That's all that's on camera.
He comes in here and goes, okay, can you guys quiet down? And his name is Plankton.
Even getting it from your
He was
kids.
sick of his dad not getting the name. He's like, let me go out here and save him.
You're not the only
For the
one
last time, Dad, it's not Ilium, it's Ilum.
Yeah.
You're not the only one with a consultant. In the
Oh, no,
house,
we have to say things wrong. Like, I've made it my mission now.
I know you do.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy's name is Gascon, and he was annoying as shit. Like, as whack as Whack 47 was, Gascon was just brutal, especially in that. So I mean, they get sent on this mission where it says they're gonna like go on a collision course with the Dreadnought, which I don't remember hearing about a Dreadnought. Obviously we heard about it in Last Jedi. I don't remember hearing about that before. But they're given this mission to go find this decrypting device or whatever, then they end up at that sunny day in the void episode 11 was just like slow death when they're out in the middle of the desert.
Oh my God, where they were in the void.
Yes, it's like, oh my God, can this end soon? And Gascon's just losing his mind, and it's like I just wanted to get through that episode so badly. It ended with a little bit of
the ending was fucking epic. The ending was like where they realized the guy they run into in the diner, because like none of them are served, not the aliens, not the droids, and they get kicked out. So then they end up in a back alley where they're eating the trash, and the guy comes out and he's like, "What are you doing? You know we serve food and shit." And they look at him and like, "You're a or a clone." He's, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then he realizes he's got amnesia or some shit, and they say 4 words to him. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember all this shit now. I know where my armor is." And he goes and gets it. All of a sudden, it turns into like Halo. Like it's just like him running through freaking shooting people, and it's like third person. Like the camera's always behind him, and he's running. And I'm like, what am I? It was almost like what was the Stormtrooper video game that was popular? Battlefront. It was like watching Battlefront. All of a sudden, it's him, and he's like, "Droids and fucking Gascon, get out of here! I got this." And he's just like annihilating everybody,
shooting barrels of Ridium. Yeah, Tridium. What the hell is that?
It was Ridium, and then Rhydonium. Yeah, and then that comes into play in the next episode much more.
Yes, and Gregor is the guy. We see him in Rebels later. We're gonna find him. I can't remember what season that's in, but he's out there with Rex in the fucking desert
and
when
fishing for those monsters.
They left that wide open, because they're like, well, we'll find him again someday. And I was like, oh, there's foreshadowing. That dude's not dead.
Before or after? Is it before or after Rebels?
It's season 2.
It's like season 2 or 3 of Rebels.
Is it when they're walking on the?
No, I'm asking the timeline for myself, like because
this is all before.
Okay,
So Rebels is later. So he's an old man by the time they find him again.
Oh, of course, because this is the Clone Wars.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Name of the whole series.
He's back.
Are you here?
I'm here.
Okay.
Again, up since 4:30. So
I got you.
You're doing all right.
Why don't you lick my outer rim?
The plan was to load up that cruiser with all this Rhydonium and send it into some strategy conference. And have it blow up and kill Jedi and all these Republic people and all that kind of stuff. So basically, R2 saves the day, and for a second you think like, is he dead? Right. Obviously, he's not because it's R2.
He's in episode 3 and 7.
It's just party to a suicide bombing now.
Right? Yeah.
That's all.
But they find him, bring him back. He's fine. So luckily he's good. We can move on from the droid episodes.
R2's got more lives than a cat.
He does. Well, he's a droid. Like you can always bring a droid back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's kind of the whole point with him.
Now, this next sequence was fucking great. I really like this sequence a lot. In fact, probably my favorite arc of the season, which was Maul and Savage being discovered by Death Watch. Because you're bringing together those two, and it just turned into... I knew some of this stuff from having been told by the consultant. But I didn't... Having seen it now, those are some pretty awesome scenes.
Well, they were like floating through hyperspace, like in Aliens. Like they were all just they were just frozen in their cockpits, and the Mandalorians apparently were on like a salvage mission and discovered them.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they give him the new leg, they give him the new arm, or new legs, give Savage new arm and all that kind of stuff, and bring him back. They kind of come together and say, if you help us, we'll help you. Take Mandalore back.
But then immediately, like when they separate, they both agree that the other one is going to turn against them as soon as they can. So
they have their own motives.
Were the Black Sun guys? Was that the Pike people?
So the Black Sun is the first group that they. So Maul suggests that they recruit these crime syndicates. So Black Sun is first, and which is that badass move by Savage. Where he does
the quadruple beheading. Yeah,
and he's like, I guess you don't have any leaders anymore. So you in? He's like, we are now in.
he looks Savage up.
They're
and
the ones that look like Thanos in a purple bathrobe walking around with the guys with the TV heads.
Who's Thanos?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, got it.
And then the next one is the Pikes are the ones that have more of the TV helmet and their heads, and they're the ones that they are the ones that they take the coaxium from in Solo.
Yeah.
So when they land on that planet, that's where we see them next. So when they were mentioned, I thought, wait a minute, I've heard them before, but I didn't realize they were in this episode. And then the Hutts. So they get the Hutts involved. They threaten them. Basically,
I don't recall seeing the Hutts in this.
Yeah, the whole boardroom of the Hutts.
You were going through things really quickly at odd hours and 2-minute chunks. So it's possible you missed this. But yes, they go.
Like literally, I don't recall the Hutts at all.
they go to that.
Scene in that.
What's that planet called? Nal Hutta or whatever it's called, where like the council of them is, and
there's like an executive board of Hutts. A couple of them are hologrammed in, and Maul and.
I wonder if like I went over an episode, like my Disney Plus is like I don't recall.
Pre Vizsla was there too, right? Like they all three of them were in there, or no?
I believe he was with them, but I think you're right. And then what happens is they basically threaten them. And then they all laugh at him, and then they have all these bounty hunters jump up and start fighting him. So like Dengar's there, guy, what's his name? Is it Embo or something? I always forget that guy's name. He's
with the hat,
Embo.
The guy with the guy with the hat, right? Yeah, and he's using it as like a shield / frisbee, right?
Right,
knocking people around with
Captain America.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so but then basically what happens is they go to Tatooine to deal with Jabba because Jabba wasn't there. He was like there virtually. He was on the Zoom call. And they tell Jabba, like, we're going to fuck you up. And he's like, okay, we'll join you.
So this was part of the Mandalorian episodes?
This was episode 14.
Episode 14, yeah.
Yeah. And, like, apparently the Mandalorians at the end of the episode are just basically looking to double-cross Savage and Darth Maul and use them for their own gains. But doesn't Pre Vizsla's like, I don't work for you now, you work for me, or something to Darth Maul at one point in time?
Yeah, well, so the plan is that they do in the next episode is they're like, we're going to hit some targets on Mandalore, which is going to ruin everybody's confidence in Satine. And then Death Watch is going to come in and save the day.
They're going to be
the
heroes.
Take over. Yep. So they all go on board for that and do that. And then once he is taken over, that's when he tells Maul, like, you're of no use to me anymore. And then they draw weapons on him.
Maul whoops his ass and takes
Maul goes deep into the Mandalorian, like, code of, or maybe it's the Constitution on Mandalore or something, where if you challenge to battle the leader, they have to accept or something. So you get probably the fucking coolest fight scene of the entire episode.
It's like the Postman.
Yeah, pretty much.
The scene in the Postman where he challenges for the leadership. Yeah, you have to accept.
Yep.
You get the awesome Pre Vizsla versus Maul fight, lightsaber versus darksaber, and Vizsla's just going deep into his bag of trips. He's like hitting him with the flamethrower, the proximity mines.
Yeah.
He's throwing grappling hooks, and it's like every single trick that the bounty hunter has up his sleeve, he's going after Maul with it. And
then he just takes a beheading like a champ.
He starts getting worked, and you can see the heads drop from the Mandalorians around him, like, oh no, that dude's getting his butt kicked, and we can't do it. We can't step in. We had to just let it happen.
Yep.
And then what does he say? I can't remember what Pre Vizsla says. He says something right before, something about weakness, or I don't know what he says, right before he gets beheaded. Like he knows it's coming.
Yep.
And he gets beheaded by his own darksaber too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then Maul just like chillaxes in the crown chair and like, all right.
Well, Bo-Katan says, I'll have none of this. And she's like, we're out.
And do you notice the one next to her that never takes her helmet off is what's her face that whoops Boba Fett's ass?
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's the same helmet.
It's supposed to be her?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Koska, maybe is her name? Something like that?
Is that? Yeah,
Koska
I forget.
Reeves?
Yeah. Yep.
Like
yeah.
Trapper Wolf.
And so then... So then basically it's like, okay, well, now we're going to get Olmec, the old prime minister who was all corrupt. We're going to take him out, and he's going to be the figurehead leader so that people don't realize that it's Maul.
Right.
And then he announces that Satine murdered Pre Vizsla, which I'm sure everybody was like,
right.
I don't see that happening.
I mean, that's half the reason like Mandalore fell so quickly was because they're so goddamn peaceful. They won't do anything.
Right.
And
so
the second the Night Watch comes in, And how many times are they going to let her be a prisoner in one episode? Like it's like release her, bring her back, release her. Ha! I fooled you again. Bring her back. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up, and fucking what's her face is sitting up on top, and she's like, just let him go get her real quick. We'll wait till they come back, and then we'll jump in. He fucking goes and rescues her back out to the ship dock, and fucking then the fight begins.
Well, I like this episode because Bo-Katan comes out and she springs Duchess Satine, which we learn is her sister, right? And then
after she's dead,
you get to see she Zoom call or whatever. She does the long distance call. I don't have bars on my cell phone. And then finally she gets good enough bars.
Yeah.
And calls out to Obi-Wan Kenobi. You get the whole sense of help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Or you're our only hope type of speech.
And then Yoda's like, we got none of this. We can't do it.
Again, you see the political spectrum for the Jedi. Their hands are tied again because Satine and her fucking arrogance and pride decided to keep Mandalore neutral, not to be ruled by or bend
take part in either side
of the war. So they're kind of fucked. So Obi-Wan goes rogue and goes out there to help her because you can kind of see he's got.
I love every time the Jedi Council's like, well, there's nothing we can do. Wink.
Well,
all of a sudden you see Obi-Wan's ship pull up to the planet.
It's like an unspoken
yeah.
You don't. They don't have mistresses, but they have like a someone that they're really close to that they almost love. But I don't know.
Well, that's why they probably like Anakin so much. They literally do it on purpose. Like, Anakin, we are ordering you not to do that. Watch this. He'll do it.
It's the biggest game of reverse.
Like he leaves and the fucking the betting table rolls over and
They're
they've got their
high-fiving.
chips and shit. Yeah.
I bet you I can get Anakin to go to Tatooine again. Watch this.
And then, and this is the episode that is dedicated to the memory of Ian Abercrombie, the voice of Palps, who died.
Oh.
Because you get a different voice of Palps going forward after this. So first, Satine's brought forward after they're recaptured. Maul, I can't remember what he says, but then he just drops her with the fucking darksaber.
But he's just fucking taunting Obi-Wan. Like,
Yeah.
because he knows
I want you to
that
feel
he has
pain
feelings.
like I did. That's what it was. And just death.
I sat like losing my mind in a cave for years, and you're going to feel the way that I did.
In my defense, I thought I killed you. Like I gave you a swift death.
Yep.
Like an honorable death, but you had somehow survived down there.
And then he just like
bad.
force chokes her from behind. She like comes up near him. He's like shank with the darksaber and just murders her right in front of Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan's like, I don't care. Hold the tears back.
Jedi don't cry.
Yeah.
And then Bo saves him, busts him out of there, and gets him out of there. She says, "I'm here to Bo-Katan. I'm here to rescue you."
Yep.
There's another one of those lines. And then I think that's where she kind of suggests to Kenobi, like, you need to tell the Republic, because she wants them to come in and battle Maul. So that's her planting the seeds of wanting the Republic to come in and fight Maul.
Yep.
And then Palps kind of feels it, He's like, oh, some shit just went down. Can somebody get me my ship? I'll be right back. And then he goes out and just lays waste to those two dudes.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah, I got an uprising to put down. You won't be coming after
Doesn't
my
even
dark
like
side.
remove the hood. Like
No.
he's just like the whole time. It's like a leisure walk for him. And these two fucking badass second Siths, whatever they are, and he's like just fucking lays to waste to both of them. And then just like he's a redheaded stepchild. You used to be my apprentice. And then he's like, I'm gonna electrocute you.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna murder you. You're useful for something.
Dr. Seuss would call them Sith 1 and Sith 2.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but he gets the double saber like back behind him stab on Savage. And Savage is dead.
So
Which I thought at one point why kill Savage there? But then I also thought, well, maybe that's all we needed out of Savage. Maybe it needs to be the Maul show going forward.
His last words, brother. It's like fucking Hulk Hogan. It's like the Hulk Hogan.
Who is Palp's apprentice right now?
Dooku.
But
Dooku
had an apprentice, and you can only have one, right?
Well, I mean, I think that those are a pair. So you got the Emperor and Dooku. Then Dooku is Dooku and Ventress.
But Dooku doesn't have one right now.
Right. So
but I was under the impression that once you had an apprentice, you were no longer an apprentice to someone else. So Palp's,
I think each master can have one apprentice. So you can be a master and an apprentice, apparently. Because,
that's what I was wondering if
the
that's how it
rules
worked.
seem real
Right.
light there. Like they mention it a lot, but then there's a lot of exceptions to that rule.
Because he's like, you're not my apprentice. I already have one, and I'm like, no, you don't.
I'm still trying to figure
out
out
because he doesn't have
Anakin,
Vader yet.
Yeah, Anakin's got an apprentice. He's not a full rank of master either.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, they're playing fast and loose.
Yeah.
Can we
I
get some
think
structure?
it's meant to be Dooku, because then of course later in episode 3 when Anakin kills Dooku, that's like, okay, now you're the guy. Now you have the job.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Episode 17, you get the they're flying. It's like almost like the opening scene of episode 3 of the movie, where they're coming in with the two fighters and they're flying through space. And you get the buzz droids. Like it's almost the exact same set of circumstances.
this is the CSI Coruscant episode.
It really is like you're right. There's a scene where they're like looking for they're in that room, and Anakin's sliding his hand underneath the frame of the painting, and like Ahsoka's in the room in the corner doing something, and I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Like all of a sudden they're like master detectives.
Yeah. And that whole scene where they're recreating it like in video footage, they're showing what happened, and they're that droid's helping them out and trying to point out what happened. It just totally looked like a CSI.
I noticed they got the buzz droids. Anakin's got buzz droids on his cruiser, and he's force pushing them through the window. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
He's force pushing. Like, why didn't he do that? Why did they do that in episode 3?
There's a lot of things like you're like, why did they do this now but never did it before or later? Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely. But I do like the comedy of her saying to R2, tip your wings so I can see what's going on, and he does.
Yes, there's 187 fucking bubble droids or whatever underneath.
That gave me the willies. Seeing that many buzz droids lined up, I was like,
it's like a spaceship with barnacles on it.
Like, yeah, barnacles or
underneath.
Herpes on the bottom of my
penis. And to go back for a second to talk about like why don't they do that or whatever. Like after Maul kills Sabine, and then the two
Satine.
Like that's what I said takes fucking Obi-Wan, and they're like, we'll just take him away. And I'm like, hold on, this dude's a Force user who can whoop everyone's ass, and he's just like, yeah, go ahead, just take me to prison. I'm in a bad mood right now.
Again, I have a gun. We can shoot him right now. It's the same thing. Why don't we just shoot him right now? Like, nope, not gonna do it. He wants to torture him.
Then he ends up getting tortured by the Emperor. Like the Emperor's just sitting there Force lightning him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like,
I know.
I'm taking you home with me. You're my new pet.
Then we get Jakar Bomani.
There's a name I can say.
Yeah, who is they think is the culprit of the bombing of the Jedi Temple. By the way, at one point when they mentioned the bombing, I can't remember who it was. Maybe Anakin was like I can't wait to catch him or something like that. And I was like, it's gonna be a woman. He said to catch him. I know it's gonna be a woman. Watch.
Yeah. Yep.
And then yeah. So they Jakar Bomani they think is the culprit, and they find out that he was the bomb. He was the bomb.
He was the bomb because of nanobot explosions.
Right. And his wife shows up and is like, where is he? And all this stuff, kind of playing coy.
Right. Like, how do you not know she's guilty with all those face tattoos?
Yeah.
Yes, you can't trust the face tattoos.
Right.
She's like one of the new mumble rappers.
Yeah.
The face tats.
Mike Tyson watched the cartoon. He's like, you know what? I want one of those.
I mean, Ahsoka's got face tats. We trust her.
I feel like that's just like the printing.
Yeah, maybe.
She was born that way?
Yeah.
So they basically confront Letta at the apartment, and they're taking her out, and then she just fucks off. She leaves, bolts, tries to get away.
Yeah, I'm going to take this guy and throw him at a Jedi, and I'll get away. And she does.
Yeah.
Come on.
She almost gets away with it, but not quite. And then that leads into the next episode where Tarkin's like, okay, we've moved her to Republic jail. Then we get into this whole, like, what's Jedi business? What's Republic business? Who should be the jailer? Where should the trial be held? All that kind of stuff. It almost gets into this weird...
It's almost like, like either whether you go to court-martial them or they're going to get charged under regular law.
A lot of this goes back to the conversation from the previous season when Anakin and Tarkin are walking through the caverns of that planet.
Yeah.
And they're kind of agreeing on the way that the Jedi are too peaceful and you can't win a war with peace and all this. And then I'm like, how deep is Tarkin in with like the bad side of this? Because he seems to be sort of heading this whole thing, like almost aggressively so.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and then Ahsoka's not helping her cause by showing all the anger she has and the fact that they're handling it that way. So it looks like she wants revenge against this person.
But this is where we're seeing Ahsoka is getting framed.
And she fucking, it's not too hard to frame her. She falls into every single fucking trap that they set for her.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it like, at least try to make it look like you're not.
When did you realize you were watching The Fugitive?
Yeah. When
the
they
second
get to the
she
tunnel.
goes in that drain, I was like,
I was waiting for fucking Anakin to be like, I don't care.
I didn't kill my wife.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I need fucking Sam Jackson's character. I need every hen house, chicken house, whatever house. Like,
she did a Peter Pan right here. Yeah. We learned, by the way, that Tarkin has been upgraded to an admiral now.
Mm-hmm.
Big swinging dick that he is.
Still got a really nice fucking head of hair, though.
Yeah, so the hair's looking sharp. It's getting longer.
He's got like that Gary Oldman Dracula fucking dude.
Oh, totally. But then Letta wants to talk to Ahsoka for some reason. Again, this just is all like setup. She goes in, gets force choked from somebody she can't even see. They got video of it. It looks bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then like you said, then she like gets let out. There's a key card sitting there. She thinks it's Anakin helping her, and it's not. And then she walks out. And there's all these dead clones. She's like, "Oh shit!"
I never really explained how that was supposed to be such a secure facility, according to Tarkin. But how did Letta get in there? Or not Letta, but
Barriss.
Barriss,
yeah.
How did she get in there? They were like, no one else was there. This is we don't just let people walk around in here.
Yeah.
Never really explained that part of things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's force choking and stuff. I mean, she clearly has more power than she's letting on. So I don't know.
Well, and the weird thing is like they never gave us the like where that came from, because last we saw like Barriss and like should be chummy chum with Ahsoka because they survived the attack when they fucking died underneath in that fucking big robot thing.
Right.
And then all of a sudden she shows up 2 seasons later and she's like turncoat all up against
But that's the
Ahsoka
thing,
and
though,
everybody.
Too. She wasn't influenced by the dark side. At least the way I interpreted it.
She just didn't have a master, and she was
disgruntled with the way the war was going, and she thought that like the Jedi were being used inappropriately. So she was just kind of like I
feel like Tarkin got to
terrorist, I guess, almost. Did you guys get the sense that she turned to the dark side? She wasn't like...
No, I don't think it was the dark side as much as she was just like, she didn't believe in the war.
To the dual lightsabers at one point. She's like, I think that I thought I might need these, or they're more suitable for me, right? She says it.
Something like that.
She pulls them out of the vase, the vials.
Well, probably sometime in episode 6 we'll get an episode that goes back to before, because every once in a while there's an episode that takes place 3 seasons before.
Yeah,
and we'll see.
You'll get your answers eventually.
Yeah,
just to fuck with me, they do that.
Yeah, but that's how she explains it, is that the Jedi have lost their way. This is not who we are, and I'm done with this shit. So, just basically setting them up to fail, but pretty drastic way to do so by, killing some of your own and all that kind of thing. So, I don't know. I was suspicious of her, of course, the whole time because of all those setups. The fact that she's like, go to this warehouse, and then the warehouse is where she gets gets nailed, all that kind of stuff. But it was cool to see Asajj show up again.
Right. Ventress is just like, and then she's just the bounty hunter looking for a quick payday.
Right. And they waited till whatever, like two episodes to go or whatever, 3 episodes to go in the whole season to bring her back. So I was like, well, finally she shows up because we love her. They
really desexualized her too. She didn't look as good with all that armor on.
I know. Stop putting helmets on her, man. Let her just shake that white, skinny ass.
What? She's more gray, I thought.
More gray. That underworld is insane, by the way. We talked before about how they had this whole plan for Underworld series and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
How many fucking levels does that thing go down? Like,
yeah,
it just looks like it goes down forever.
I feel like you'd have to like rent a hotel room and sleep for the night while that elevator just kept going down.
That's forever.
12 through 15. I remember like 13-15, and they were in like different levels going up and down.
But then, so then Tarkin accuses Ahsoka of killing the troopers and Letta and all that kind of stuff. And the council is quick to be like, yeah, that's probably right. Looks right.
Yeah.
You notice that they never were like, they were doling out the punishment, and then Anakin bursts in the room, and then they're like, well, we'll just kind of throw that.
Yeah.
I felt like they were going to kill her.
And and no matter what, it was like, oh, this is a military thing. You Jedis can't have nothing to do with it because you'll just take good, you won't handle this as aggressive as we will. So this is in our hands now. And even Yoda's like, well, if that's what they want.
Yeah. So it's no surprise then at the end when she's like, hey, I love the fact that they're talking to her and all apologetic, like, oh, we were so wrong and you were right and you did this and blah, 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 blah. And you just watch Ahsoka's face. I know I'm talking about a cartoon. Yeah. But if you watch her face, she's just sitting there with this look on her face.
And Mace is like, we realize now that this is your true test. Fuck you.
Yeah, bullshit. What a fucking, what a made up piece of shit story.
This is like, we fucked up big time. And if you want, you can be a master today.
That was all a test. We had this plan from the get-go. Congratulations.
It's like a used car salesman. All right, here's what we're going to do for you. All right. We're going to throw in that extended warranty. Yeah. You rank a master.
You've won a new house.
And if you want, we can get you some white lightsabers.
Yeah.
And have your own color.
Yeah. And then I do like at the end when Anakin is trying to bring her back. He's like, you can't leave. You can't do this.
Right.
And he said, I understand wanting to walk away from the order. And she said, I know. It's like,
you notice she calls him, the first time she calls him Anakin and not Master.
Right.
Like, she starts off with Master, and then she cements it in her mind that she's not going to be a Jedi anymore. Yeah. She's like, I know Anakin. She calls him Anakin. He's like, oh, how dare you?
How dare you? I'll always be your
that's
master.
when you know she's serious. She calls you by your first name. Like, uh-oh.
Yeah. And then just like that, she's gone.
She's gone.
And the thing is, she ain't in season 6.
Wow, really?
From what I understand, I think there's some notes, like some mentions of her, but they're focusing on other stuff. I'm real concerned about season 6 because it was started, Disney bought Lucasfilm.
Yeah, but this was already in production because season 7, there was like they called the lost episodes. They released some of the concept art and some of the finished work on like a website years ago.
Well, season 6 is called The Lost Missions. And so what happens is they were partway through the season and then canceled it. Mm-hmm. And so they still had all these other things that, these other stories they were going to tell, which is some of that stuff like the Bad Batch stuff that we'll see in season 7. But
I thought 7 was the lost when they finished it. Okay.
No, 7 is like they circled back to kind of finish up what they had in motion. Okay. But they just cut that thing short after whatever it was, 15 episodes or whatever it is. So I'm real interested to see what they do. I don't know a whole lot about the season. I just know that it's like Ahsoka's left the order. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what the whole plot's going to be. I don't know if it's going to focus more on Anakin and his, continue to steer toward the dark side or what.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious as to what the plan was before Disney bought them. Like, how many more seasons were they going to go? Because this, even though they didn't get to finish it, like this season has to have some type of direction.
I think I read something where they said they were going to go seasons 6 and 7, but 6 was supposed to be a full season. It was actually 13 episodes. So the next season's only 13 episodes. Good news, guys. We can jam right through that.
I'll start this the day we record.
The morning of.
Yeah.
But I think they had to kind of circle back and be like, okay, well, so we got part of our stuff done from season 6. We didn't get to do all of season 7. So they brought the most important bits of that into season 7 that they came around and did again and just were like, this is it.
I have a feeling the last season is going to be amazing.
Oh, I've heard it's fantastic.
They knew like let's wrap this up. Like this is like self-contained, and like I think that whatever the ending was going to be, this is like they drew it out like boom,
Yeah.
And from what I've seen, like some of the scenes with Ahsoka and like hunting fucking Maul down, and yeah, it's pretty great. Even the last shot, the tearjerker is yeah. I'm ready.
Yeah, I've heard only good things. I'm excited to get to that point, but yeah, I'm a little bit worried about what season 6 is going to do. I don't think it's going to be like bad. I'm just going to wonder, is it like, are we kind of not making as much progress as we have been with especially the last 2 seasons?
It's nothing but droid episodes, because for one, it's like I had a really good ending from 16 to 22. I never got to do those.
Season 6, the 3PO years.
Yeah.
No.
Oh god.
Well, should we move on to the Maulbag?
Let's do the Maulbag.
I'm a representative of the United States government, authorized by
Order 66.
And I'm your postman.
Okay, so email 1, which was kind of 2 that I combined into 1. This is from Mike Laybourne. Thank you, Mike. He says, first and foremost, aside from Leia, Padme, and Rey, who do you think are the strongest female characters in the Star Wars universe?
It's a trap.
And he also says, which do you want to learn more about? Obviously,
well,
Ahsoka.
how do you? Okay, so aside from Leia, Padme, and Rey, so Ahsoka.
Yeah, Ahsoka's got to be there.
Right.
Ahsoka's got to be one. I was gonna say, what's the girl, the chick admiral in 7 that not 7? Why do I keep saying 7? 8, who
the Holdo maneuver. Holdo.
Yeah, old girl. What's her name? She's the Leia's friend, best friend, confidant.
Yeah. Jay doesn't
Isn't
know
it
who
Holdo?
you're talking about. Yeah, it's Holdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because you said it twice, and he was like, "Yeah, her friend," and I was like, what, "Am I missing somebody?"
I believe it's Hondo. Sorry,
not Hondo. Holdo.
That's his sister.
She's the one that
You find out he's a human. He's just got a really bad skin disease.
Been in the sun too long.
Yeah, he's like that. Who's the guy you see in the news that had like the tree, like looks like he's got bark for skin.
Oh yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That's what he's got. He's a human with fucking bark skin and goggles.
Nice poem.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Good work.
I've been here all day.
Hondo.
I felt like she would be a good strong female lead.
Okay.
She's really the only other.
I want to know more about Maz.
Maz Kanata?
Yeah.
I felt like we got robbed of Maz in episode 8. I was real excited with what they did with her in 7 and thought she'd have a bigger role in 8. I was like, that's it? That's all we got? I was kind of disappointed.
Yep.
I was disappointed in 8 a lot.
I mean, obviously, Asajj is a badass. So there's another female character. Steela was great.
Yep.
But of course, she gone. I liked Jyn in Rogue One.
She
but
gone
one,
too.
I would say the one I really want to see when he asked, who do you want to learn more about, is Kira from Solo. Because there's a lot that happened between when he knew her as a teenager and then met back up with her in Solo. And then, with all the Voss stuff.
Yeah.
And then also going forward with the whole Crimson Dawn thing. Like, there's so much there to tell. And it's so interesting. Like, she's kind of this, I don't know, like kind of cunning person. And I just think that it would be interesting to see more about her.
Yeah, because she's like, you come in and she's like a lieutenant or a captain in that little Midnight Sun, whatever the name of that.
Crimson Dawn, she's like
Crimson
the
Dawn.
right-hand gal to Voss, and then she's the Voss when he's dead.
like, is she really that bad, or is she doing it out of necessity, right?
Yeah, it's hard to know what her motives are.
Yeah. No, I agree. I would watch
Maybe she's
more of
got
that.
a bad motivator.
Is that on the soundboard?
I'm here all week, folks.
Thank you. Oh, is there another question from him, or is that it? Did I have another question there?
If you were a Jedi Padawan, who would you choose as your teacher and why?
That's what it was. Thank you. Who you got?
So you can choose your master.
Who would be the worst? I think Mace Windu would be the fucking
Oh, yeah. He would be like, did you make your bed?
I'm going to go with, what's his name? Plo Koon? What's his name?
Yeah, that dude's
Plo Koon?
badass.
Just so I can listen to him talk all day long.
Yeah.
He's intimidating, though. I think he's a little intimidating, too. I'd be a little nervous to screw up around Plo.
He's got a little nickname for Ahsoka, little Ahsoka.
Who's the green guy that never skips
Kit Fisto?
Yeah,
with the upper body?
That's my master.
He's always
right
happy.
Doesn't do leg day either.
Right.
You can tell. He's just upper body. all
Don't
day
look at
long.
me with those cold, dead eyes, Kit. Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious one is Kenobi because he's just so forgiving about everything. Like, you just kind of get away with murder with him. You know what I mean? He's always going to forgive you and be like, let's just, he's trying to protect you and kind of shield you a little bit from the rest of the council. I mean, he's the obvious one for me.
And his legend is just continually growing throughout this. Like, they reference like General Kenobi's here. Like he's like he's the poster child for the Jedi Order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
There's our pick, Mike.
Email number 2 is from Louis Cabral. He says, "Hello, skewers." I kind of like that. That should be the nickname of our listeners, skewers.
Right.
The camaraderie between you three is great to listen to. Thank you. Slightly different opinions, but all have a love for Star Wars. Did you have any of the original Star Wars figures, and which one was your favorite? Oh, man. What did you guys have?
I had the Millennium Falcon. Well, my brother did.
Fucker.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Well, hang on.
Rich kid.
Yeah.
My brother stole it.
It was, by the time I got to it, it was just complete. It was the one that would open up on the inside and had all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure my parents bought it in the shop that Matt was at because it was just like, there used to be this old flea market on M130 in Gladwin, and it was just like they found it there, and they paid like $7 for it, and it was like one of the
it's like mold colored.
It was beat the fuck.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
At the end of the run of the toy, it had like the shell of the Millennium
Did you
Falcon.
put that like into your in your timeline, like when you were playing with the toys? Like, did you have a history as to why the Millennium Falcon looked like that?
No.
Oh. Sorry to have fun with you.
I didn't. Oh, okay.
No imagination. Hehe's sticking to the script.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
It was broken. That's it. I didn't even enjoy it.
I see that the Falcon and the AT-AT to me were always the unattainable toys that I never got. I always felt like the rich kids had those toys. I don't know why. I had like an X-Wing and a TIE Fighter and stuff like that, but I did not have those two, and I always coveted those. But when it comes to figures, I had a freaking million of those things.
I don't think I had. I know I had Vader, and I had Bib Fortuna, and I had Wicket. I don't think I had any other fucking characters. And I
That's a
remember
good crew.
I remember going to my cousin's house all the time, and he had the C-3PO head and the Vader head, and it was filled with characters. He had the Ewok village and a couple of ships and shit, and I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Like, why don't I
all
get
of ours
any of this
were
stuff?
because we were all demented. We would we had the He-Man ones, a couple of He-Man ones, the GI Joes, of course, with the wasting rubber band disease, and then I think we had a couple Stormtroopers, but we just blew them up with M80s because we were
okay.
we were damaged youth.
So you didn't have any after you were done playing that game.
We were killing them, killing them off.
I had a lot of GI Joe shit. That was cheaper than the Star Wars stuff. I felt like they had some cool stuff. That was pretty good. But the other thing that happened too is that I had all this gear, and then years go by, and my dad, who is a notorious pack rat, is like, "Hey, I saved some of your toys." I'm like, "Oh, sweet." So I open up the toys. He saved the fucking Fisher Price. I'm like, "You didn't save the Star Wars?" Nope, got rid of those.
You mean the little people? You saved the little people?
Yes, I had those for my little kids. 50 years old or 40 years old, whatever the hell they were. And I was like, oh, I wish these were Star Wars. I'm like pretending they're Star Wars guys. None of them had arms, so it kind of works for the Star Wars.
Like from Step Brothers, it's okay that my mask's not movie quality. He's like, he yells it out from his boat.
He says, how did you get your first figure? I think it was either like Toys R Us.
A lot of setups.
Nice. That's why you want to go under Kit Fisto.
Yeah.
You want to be his apprentice.
Got to work on my figure.
Yeah.
Was there one you wanted but never got?
My mom would not buy me Slave Leia.
Not this time.
Yeah.
No, I wanted all of them. I didn't get any of them. So,
except for the
the broken down
the
husk of a
dingy
Millennium
fucking
Falcon.
matte shop
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
And then one final question to fight over. Which one of you would be most suggestible to a Jedi mind trick?
Interesting. So this is like if you were on an island with someone, like the Star Wars version of it.
Who we picking?
Who would be more susceptible?
I think if a lot of spotchkas involved, I would be.
Okay.
I'm saying right now, I think Jay might possibly be. He said 4 or 5 beers.
Yep. Yeah. I wouldn't fight that.
Jay was my choice.
Okay. Well, so you're saying I'm weak-minded?
No.
All right.
No,
You're good at what you
You're
do,
just-
which is first mic.
you're a
Thank
friendly fella, and you'd want to go along with it.
That's
so.
fair enough. That's fair enough.
I hope you win the
listen,
dark saber.
You'll listen to my podcast? I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Exactly. He says, "I hope you win the dark saber, Louis, aka Clockwork Owl." Thank you. And one final one.
I love how that's fucking lived on. Like even in tweets, all of a sudden someone will respond, "I hope you win the dark saber." It makes me
going.
laugh every fucking time.
Their tagline. Email number 3 is from Ty from the 213 Pod.
Ty, what up?
He says, very eloquently,
Whoa.
"What's the deal with Chewbacca's dick? Human or like a dog's red rocket? Thanks." Great
Has this question ever been asked in the history of like Star Wars questions?
It has now.
Man. Well,
So he's got that extra fur that kind of covers. I looked at a picture of him after I got this question.
yeah,
I was like,
check out the
I was like, let's see what's going on down there. Because he has that thing that, the bandolier thing or whatever he wears around his, but that doesn't cover anything. So I was like, what is it? And I think so there's some fur covering. I think he's a grower, not a shower. So that thing's just tucked away in there. And
That
you just
sounds
don't see it.
fair. That sounds fair.
Yeah, he's done a lot of running in the Star Wars universe, and you think if it was a huge, like if it wasn't
Right,
inverted
like
a
if
little
he
bit,
just gets a good run and like it just starts waving in the wind.
snake in the grass.
Yeah.
It should be huge. Let's be real.
And to be fair, like there's got to be a time where he's playing chess and he wins. He's just like boing.
The table hits the ceiling.
Yeah. I feel like okay. So let's look at this realistically. Is there an animal that has a giant furry? Like usually it's like more of a trimmed. It's got a little peach fuzz, but it's not like the back of their. Right.
What you're saying is the whole area is not covered in fur.
Right.
There's usually like a landing zone in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's more trimmed, if you will.
Almost like they manscape.
Right.
There's there's the putting green, and then there's the fairway, right? Like,
Yeah.
Got the rough.
So you have to think that the Wookiees are the same, Wookie lookie.
Winky Wookie.
I was gonna say we'll find out.
Winky and the Wookie, yeah. That's the parody version.
Maybe it comes in from comes out of him, like it's an inverted one that comes out
Like a red
shoots
rocket.
out. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I would say red rocket.
I like how we've spent more time on this question than the rest of them.
Well, to be fair, this is probably our subject matter expertise.
Right, that's fair, yeah.
He has an innie dick, and then it just pops out.
Yeah.
Turkey's done.
Comes out like the tongue from the Sarlacc pit. Just flaps out.
It's just my favorite part of the question is just what's the deal with his dick? Like just straight up. Like it sounds like such a drunk question. Like
I like
around.
how
It's almost like he's already seen it. Like, what's the deal with Chewbacca's dick? Nice.
like he woke up one day with an epiphany. I gotta write the show.
Oh god, that's funny. I
Well,
think
thanks,
that's it.
Ty. Yeah, we hope you win the darksaber.
Yeah, I do. Hey Dave, can you get on building a Wookiee dick for us?
Ooh, there we go.
We'll send that out.
Yeah.
All right, no FACPA factoid. So I guess we've reached the end of season 5 of our Clone Wars discussion.
Yep.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with only 13 episodes to cover, and it's a mystery as to if any of it's finished.
We'll see. We'll find out
Yeah.
together.
Yep.
It'll be a journey.
I hope you win the Clone Wars saga.
Thanks for listening. Until next time,
Yeah, that's what I said.
never tell us the odds.
In our experience, there's no such thing as luck.
We have spoken.